Every 4 years, billions of people watch the same ritual. A player lifts the World Cup trophy. A nation celebrates. History is rewritten in a single moment. But the world only sees the final image. They see the celebration. They see the medals. They see the tears. They see the cameras surrounding the person who reached the highest level of the sport. What they do not see is the psychological battle that happened long before the final whistle. The World Cup is not only a competition between teams. It is a competition between minds. At the highest level of football, physical ability becomes almost equal. Most players reaching that stage are already among the most talented athletes on the planet. The difference is no longer simply speed, technique, or strength. The difference is psychological. Some players collapse under the weight of expectation. Some disappear when the pressure becomes unbearable. Some perform when millions of people are waiting for them to fail. The difference between a talented player and a legend is often hidden inside their relationship with fear, failure, sacrifice, and identity. World Cup winners are not people who never feel pressure. They are people who have learned how to operate while pressure is attacking them from every direction. They understand something most people never learn. The mind is the first battlefield. Before a player defeats an opponent, they must defeat the limitations inside themselves. The world often believes greatness begins when someone achieves greatness. They see the trophy and assume the trophy created the legend. But psychologically, the process happens in reverse. The legend exists before the achievement. The player must first develop an internal identity powerful enough to survive the journey. Most people build their identity from external validation. They believe they are successful because others recognize them. They believe they are valuable because others praise them. They believe they are capable because others believe in them. Elite players operate differently. Their identity is not created by applause. Their identity creates the behavior that eventually produces applause. A player who sees themselves as ordinary will unconsciously protect an ordinary existence. They will avoid situations that threaten their confidence. They will make decisions based on comfort. They will search for reasons why something cannot be done. But players who become legends develop an internal standard that forces them to behave differently. They do not train because they want approval. They train because their identity does not allow them to accept weakness. This is why some players continue improving even after reaching fame. The average person becomes satisfied when the world confirms their value. The competitor becomes more dangerous. Because recognition does not complete them. It creates a new standard they must defend. The greatest players are not chasing the trophy. They are becoming the type of person who deserves to hold it. A World Cup match is one of the most psychologically intense environments in human competition. Every mistake is amplified. Every decision is analyzed. Every failure can become a permanent part of history. For many players, pressure changes their behavior. They become hesitant. They avoid responsibility. They make safer decisions because they fear becoming the person blamed for defeat. But champions approach pressure differently. They understand fear is unavoidable. The difference is not the absence of fear. The difference is control. A weak mind allows fear to determine action. A powerful mind acknowledges fear but refuses to surrender decision-making to it. The penalty kick in a World Cup final is not only a physical challenge. It is a psychological confrontation. The player is standing against the goalkeeper, but they are also standing against millions of expectations, memories of previous failures, and the possibility of becoming a symbol of disappointment. The ability to remain controlled in that moment is not accidental. It is built through years of mental conditioning. Winners learn to separate the emotional meaning of a moment from the action required. They do not think. If I fail, I become a failure. They think. There is only one action required. This emotional separation is one of the greatest advantages in high-pressure environments. Because when everyone else is controlled by the importance of the moment, the person who remains calm gains control. Talent creates attention. Obsession creates dominance. Many players are gifted. They have natural ability. They have physical advantages. They have moments of brilliance. But talent alone rarely creates legends. Because talent often creates comfort. The person who succeeds easily can become attached to their natural ability. They begin protecting their image instead of improving themselves. The obsessive competitor thinks differently. They are constantly searching for weaknesses. They study details others ignore. They analyze mistakes that others forget. They are not satisfied with being better than their opponents. They are focused on eliminating every possible weakness inside themselves. This mindset explains why some of the greatest footballers continue improving after achieving everything. Their competition is no longer only external. Their greatest opponent is their previous version. The world sees the finished product. The champion sees Every World Cup champion has something most people are unwilling to give. Comfort. The public loves the final result but rarely understands the cost behind it. The lifestyle of an elite footballer is built around restriction. Time. Energy. Social life. Pleasure. Many people want the reward without accepting the psychological price. But champions understand a principle that separates them from average performers. Every choice is a negotiation between your current self and your future self. The average person prioritizes immediate satisfaction. The champion prioritizes future power. They understand that every unnecessary distraction is competing with their larger objective. This does not make them emotionless. It makes them selective. They know that becoming exceptional requires repeatedly choosing something difficult over something easy. World Cup legends often experience something most people cannot tolerate. Extreme judgment. A single mistake can define a player in the eyes of millions. A missed opportunity. A poor performance. A failed tournament. The crowd can transform admiration into criticism instantly. Most people are controlled by the need to be accepted. They adjust themselves based on how others perceive them. This creates weakness because public opinion becomes a form of control. The elite competitor develops psychological independence. They listen, but they are not controlled. They analyze criticism without allowing criticism to define them. They understand that the crowd reacts emotionally to results. But the player must think strategically about improvement. The person who needs everyone to love them will hesitate. The person who accepts being misunderstood can make difficult decisions. The difference between ordinary competitors and legendary competitors is revealed after defeat. Winning is easy to understand. Losing reveals the structure of the mind. For many players, failure becomes personal. A loss becomes proof that they are not enough. A mistake becomes evidence that they do not belong. This creates fear. Fear creates hesitation. Hesitation creates more failure. Champions interrupt this cycle. They separate the event from the identity. They understand. I failed at something. Is different from I am a failure. This distinction is psychologically powerful. Because if failure becomes part of identity, the person begins avoiding situations where failure is possible. But if failure becomes, the greatest players are not only competing for victory. They are competing against time. Every athlete eventually loses speed. Every career eventually ends. Every generation is replaced. This creates one of the strongest psychological forces in football. The desire to leave something behind. Legacy changes how a person approaches competition. A player chasing money thinks differently from a player chasing immortality. A player seeking attention thinks differently from a player seeking history. The World Cup represents something beyond a trophy. It represents permanence. It creates a place in collective memory. This is why some players carry an intensity that seems impossible to understand. They are not only playing against another team. They are fighting against being forgotten. The desire for legacy can. The final psychological transformation happens when a person stops seeing greatness as something they achieve and starts seeing it as something they maintain. Many people can reach success. Few can survive success. Fame creates new challenges. Comfort becomes dangerous. Praise becomes addictive. The person who becomes satisfied with their reputation begins declining. Legends understand that yesterday's achievements have no power over today's performance. A World Cup victory does not guarantee future greatness. It creates a responsibility to continue evolving. The champion constantly destroys outdated versions of themselves. The player who won yesterday cannot always be the player who wins tomorrow. Growth requires adaptation. The world remembers the final image. The trophy. The celebration. The moment of victory. But the trophy itself is only an object. The true competition happened inside the minds of the people who reached it. World Cup winners are separated by invisible qualities. Their ability to control fear. Their willingness to sacrifice comfort. Their obsession with improvement. Their independence from approval. Their ability to transform failure into information. Their hunger for legacy. The world sees 11 players on a field. But behind every champion is a psychological structure built through years of pressure, isolation, and discipline. The greatest battles were never only against opponents. They were against weakness. Against doubt. Against the temptation to become comfortable. A legend is not created when the world finally recognizes them. Recognition is only the final consequence. The legend is created long before the stadium lights. In silence. In struggle. In moments where nobody is watching. Because the trophy does not create the winner. The mind does.